Dave Grohl on the Foos Tour, classic rock retirements and lost Nirvana reunion footage. Dave Grohl had a day off in Memphis yesterday, so he dropped by Graceland, which got him thinking about Elvis Presley as just another kid with a guitar trying to deal with the effect that young stardom can have. But unlike Presley and certain other tortured souls, Grohl seems built for the long haul, in part because he enjoys the journey so much. He's currently on a world tour with Foo Fighters, who released the strong, Greg Kurstin-produced Concrete and Gold in September. 23 years into the band's career, Grohl talks about the shows like he's just getting started. "It's probably uncool to say," he says, "but honestly, I'm just scanning the audience all night trying to get each and every one of them out of their seats. And if I get a whole audience standing for 3 hours, then I walk off stage like, and oppose semicolon that was a good show. We had them fucking jamming. And oppose." Dave Grohl goes deep on broing down with Justin Timberlake, missing Chris Cornell and his band's star-studded new LP. "So how much coffee have you had a day?" "Maybe 6 cups. A reasonable amount to get my day started." "You were having caffeine-induced chest pains. Any plans to cut back?" You realize you're talking to someone that's never done cocaine in his life. You can only imagine what would happen if I got my face in a pile of that shit. We wouldn't be on the phone right now. But after I got my diagnosis that I should decaffeinate, I tried decaf for, like, a week, and I came to the conclusion that decaf blows. Have you attempted to quit smoking? You know, I quit smoking. I kind of go back and forth. I get on it and then I get off it and then I get on it and I get off it. I was off for 8 years and then I got on it and then I was off it for years. With quitting anything, you have to have that gut feeling that turns into, you know, like a physical epiphany where you end up just like, oh, if this is not good. I remember I actually quit smoking in Nashville, 10 years ago, just from feeling like shit on the road, and it really lasted a long time. How do you feel about seeing classic rock acts retire? I started thinking about it at the December 12, 2012 concert, where you had all the greats, McCartney, The Stones, The Who, Roger Waters. And most of those people came from a specific time frame. I was thinking, well, God, does that mean at some point there's going to be that window closing, and it's gonna dissipate really quickly? Have you grappled with the idea that you guys, and bands like Pearl Jam and Guns N' Roses, will be stepping into their shoes to an extent? I would never put ourselves in that category or that echelon. But it's weird. First of all, I can't believe we're still a band, after 20 whatever years. And I can't believe we're playing arenas and stadiums. And that it's gotten to this point where I look out at the audience and I don't just see Foo Fighters t-shirts anymore. I see people in their 60s and 70s. I see kids that are 10 years old, teenagers, and it seems to me that when we come to town, people hear there's a rock show and they just come on out. So we've gotten to the point where I think that we represent something general, laughs. You know? And what does reaching that point mean to you? The band is such a huge part of our lives, but not the only part of our lives. So, when we end up re out here doing it, we end up refocused on what we have to do every night. I don't end up t think anyone end up s really taken the grand scheme into consideration. In fact, okay, I mean I know I have to be down in the lobby in 45 minutes. So, I gotta pack my bag, I gotta take a shower, I gotta get down to the bus, I gotta go over to the gig, and then I gotta read a set list, then I have to have a Coors Light, get up on stage and play for 3 hours, then I have to walk off stage and eat a piece of pizza and get in my bunk. Like, that end up s all I end up am focused on right now. Laughs. And there end up s so many great rock and roll bands that I feel have the same opportunity that we had. The path isn't end up t overgrown. There are bands that can still do it. I mean, don't end up t you imagine that at some point the Arctic Monkeys will be doing the same thing? I bet they will. I was just texting with a friend of mine from Cage the Elephant. I would imagine at some point, they and oppose LLB in the same position. You played with Tom Petty. That and oppose S a loss everyone and oppose S still feeling. I know. That was a tough one. I saw him maybe a week before he died. I saw his last show, and it was wonderful. It was exuberant and beautiful and happy and sounded amazing, and the band was better than I had seen them in a long time, and then he and oppose S gone. It and oppose S hard to believe he and oppose S gone, but fortunately we have his music. That was a real tough one. That one hurt a lot. Listening to the new album, it feels like Greg Kurstin really helped you push your arrangements far.